Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to talk about why is industry research relevant. So in this session we will go through 10 different reasons why you should consider doing industry relevant research or industry focused research during your PhD or if you are an academic during your academic career. First and foremost, the reason is industry-based research aims to solve real-world problems that affect real people like you and me. So whenever we find a challenge and a problem in our day-to-day life, that is an opportunity to think about solving that problem, and that simply becomes an industry-focused research that you can do. Okay, let's see for an example. Throughout this session, I'm going to give you examples about electric vehicles and how all the 10 different reasons that I'm going to talk about, the examples will be related with electric vehicles. Okay, so for this example, solving a real world problem, let's have a look. I've got here higher density batteries last longer and thereby reduces environmental impact. So what you can see here is a research that is focused on developing next generation electric vehicle batteries that last longer. And because they last longer, they have limited or reduced environmental impact compared to those batteries that reach their end of life very quickly. So by doing that, what happens is the time, maybe say for example, old generation batteries, they lasted maybe 3 years or 5 years, right? And after that, they had to be disposed of. However, if the research looks at developing next generation batteries that can last longer, say 10 years, 20 years, or maybe even infinite, so they don't destroy, don't damage at all, and their performance remains the same. That is a good research question to answer. And that kind of research solves a real world problem, because people do not want to keep changing batteries in their car if they are owning an electric vehicle. And one of the challenges when owning an electric vehicle is how long will the battery last and how many years after which I have to change it. So if you can solve that problem, that becomes an industry focused research problem that solves a real world problem. And here, the additional benefit here is that it reduces environmental impact, like I mentioned earlier on. So we have looked at some examples, real world examples. So here you can see Tesla and Stanford University in the US conducted a research to develop the next generation batteries for Tesla's electric vehicles, where they have very high energy density. And this was done through a collaborative research between researchers at Stanford University and Tesla. So you can see an example, a real world example of how academia and industry collaborate together to develop next generation product that solve real world problems. So that was the first example, first reason. Let's move on to the next reason. And the next reason why you should do industry research is it drives innovation. See, when you're thinking about traditional academic research versus industry research, innovation is probably the most important differentiator. Visible commercial innovation, I would say, not just innovation. Commercial innovation is at the forefront of industry research. So you need to conduct research that drives innovation. So let's look at another example here. What do I have? Advanced battery technologies enhance electric vehicle safety and durability. So this could be a research where, what are we looking at? We're looking at two things here. One is the safety of the battery and another is durability. So you may have seen in the past, there were news about batteries catching fire. So that is a very big safety issue, right? So how can that be resolved? So that's a very useful and a practical problem that needs to be solved for electric vehicles in general or batteries in general. So here developing this new technology is the innovation that is happening. You are innovating or developing new generation of batteries that are safe and that are durable. Let's look at a real world example here. General Motors engaged University of Michigan to develop an advanced battery management system for improved safety and durability in GM's electric vehicles. So you can see here another example of a practical collaboration between academia and university. So in yesterday's session, or in one of my earlier sessions, I did mention that when you are collaborating with when there is a collaboration between university researchers and industry partners, that collaboration involves many different types of skills. So researchers with different skills will be kind of brought together to work with a team of experts from the industry partner. So in this case, GM would have picked up some of their people or researchers from battery manufacturing or battery development research wing, and University of Michigan would have selected people from battery safety and battery durability research expertise. So when they bring together these experts, the team that forms becomes a very cohesive team where the work results in commercial innovation. Let's look at the third bit. The third bit here is industry-based research results in economic growth. You can think about how is that possible. Say, for example, you derive or you develop a commercial innovation, like I mentioned in the second point. That commercial innovation, to make it a reality, you would need to manufacture it, develop it, print it, depending upon what the innovation is. That creates job opportunities. And once job opportunities are created, it results in economic growth. So that is just one example of how innovation or industry-based research results in economic growth. Let's look at another example. Say, for example, breakthroughs in battery production technique boost the electric vehicle sector's growth. So if the batteries become very powerful, they can last longer and they can be there for 10 years, 15 years without the need of being replaced, then that very feature can improve the adoption of electric vehicles across the globe. And once that happens, that generates jobs, that generates more business for other sectors, and collectively, overall, this builds up the economy of the state or of the country where this is happening. Next reason is industry-based research informs policy and regulation. So on many occasions, you will notice that industry research or industry is ahead of regulation and policy. You come up with new innovations. That innovation, because it did not exist in the past, there is no policy or there is no regulation on how to manage that innovation, right? I will give you a recent example that's been talked about a lot, and that is generative AI or artificial intelligence. So you may have used ChatGPT, Bard, and so many other different types of AI tools that generate content for you. See, there was no policy or no regulation for that kind of a technology or that kind of an innovation, because such innovation did not exist like last year or before that. So once a new innovation becomes commonplace, everyone starts using it, then there has to be some policy and regulation surrounding it to help manage the innovation if it has some negative consequences. So in case of generative AI or ChatGPT, because there was a lot of they had to redesign their assignments, because students could start generating assignments using ChatGPT. Let's look at some example from the electric vehicle space that we were discussing about. Research on electric vehicle usage patterns can shape government transportation policies. So if the use of electric vehicles starts to increase on the road, government needs to understand or decide that, we would need some electric vehicle charging stations along the roads, in the highways, in the supermarkets, and so on and so forth. So that innovation drives the need for new policies and new regulations in place. Let's take an example of the collaboration between Nissan and Oxford University. So Nissan and Oxford, they worked together on developing vehicle to grid technologies. And what that means is vehicles or cars or EVs can connect with the electricity grid, and they can either get energy from the grid to charge the batteries, or if the batteries are charged, they can give the charge back to the grid so that somebody else can use it. And by doing that, the owner of the EVs can actually generate some revenue. They can make some money, because if they have a fully charged battery and then they're selling that battery power to the grid will pay them some money in return, and vice versa. If their battery is draining, they can connect to the grid and charge their battery and pay a fee. So this kind of innovation is again a good example of collaboration between Nissan and Oxford University. The fifth example or fifth reason why you should do industry-based research is it facilitates knowledge transfer. So knowledge transfer can happen when some research is done at the university and some work is done at the industry. So there is a two-way transfer of knowledge. So from university to the industry, and from industry back to university. So that kind of knowledge transfer is very important, because that cannot happen on its own. That cannot happen in isolation. So the benefits that can emerge by such a knowledge transfer between academia and industry can only happen when there is a collaborative research happening between these two entities. Let's take an example. So suppose a group of researchers are working on developing a new cutting-edge battery technology, and they have some knowledge, they have developed some innovation which is unique. They may have a patent on it, they may have a design, a registration on it, or it could be any other form of intellectual property that they have developed, and they could use that and either sell it to the industry, or they can work together with the industry to take it to the next level. So transfer of cutting-edge battery technology from academia to electric vehicle manufacturers is an example, and vice versa. It could be something that the industry has done that can benefit the academia as well. Now, next look at the next reason. The sixth reason is industry-based research helps build industry-academia partnerships. I mean, so many examples that I have already given you have shown how industry and academia can work together to develop next-generation technologies. So here, let's take another example. A joint project on battery cooling technology could improve the electric vehicle's reliability. So this kind of a research could be done in partnership between the industry and the university. So let's look at an example here. Ford and Purdue University created a new cooling technology to enable faster EV battery charging by preventing overheating. So if you see here, this kind of a collaborative research can happen because Ford can bring in some knowledge, Purdue can bring in some knowledge, and collectively they can work together to build a new technology. In this case, it is the cooling technology, so that the batteries do not heat too much, and thereby they will not catch fire. So that is another very good example, another very good reason how collaboration between academia and industry results in developing new technology. And sometimes it is possible, or sometimes it is actually happens, that the reason, the opportunity that is created because you have access to academia or access to the industry partner, which otherwise would not happen. For example, if researchers are researching on a research problem in isolation without actually understanding whether there is a need for such research in the industry, that research will be of no use, or maybe limited use. Similarly, if the industry partner or the industry has a good idea of the challenges that they are facing, and they do not have in-house capability or skills or resources to solve that problem, they can bring that challenge to the university. And university researchers, academics, professionals in that space could work and solve this problem, or develop a solution, or develop a new innovation in this space. Seventh reason is, such collaboration or industry-based research generates or prepares skilled workforce. What do I mean by that? See, in the next generation of research students or people who are graduating from university, they need to be able to work on cutting-edge technologies, or next generation technologies, or next generation sectors, which may or may not be there when they started their undergraduate degrees. Especially if you are doing your PhD, the value that you can have when working with an industry partner during your PhD is immense. Because one direct benefit is, after you finish your PhD, you would be able to directly work with the company or continue working on the same project. And I have seen that happen with my students and with many others that I know in this field. So developing or working with an industry partner and kind of upskills yourself, because they bring in some knowledge that they give you, that they kind of train you. You can consider this as an internship during a PhD, and go and work with an industry partner for say 6 months and work on a specific project or a problem that they have given, and solve that in that short snap 6-month period. And this is very beneficial, this is very helpful to both of you. So to you as a PhD scholar and to the industry partner as well. And there are some programs in Australia, like the APR Intern is one such program that provides funding to PhD scholars for working with industry on a small internship. And that small internship could be for 3 months, could be for 6 months, gives the opportunity for PhD scholars to pick up an industry relevant problem to solve, analyze it, do the research and solve it. So you can imagine that 6-month period is like a small mini PhD, So what you would do, you will talk with the industry partner first. You will understand what the problem is. You will come back, you will do some review, literature review. You will find out what are the existing solutions or approaches that are present in the literature that I could use to solve the problem. Then you would analyze, evaluate that, okay, I did my lit review. I found that there are say 5 different ways in which this problem could be solved. But the precise solution that the industry is looking for is not provided by any of these 5 solutions. So what do? You pick up those 5 existing solutions, come up with a list of features or requirements that those 5 solutions can solve for the industry partner. But then there are a few other things that still need to be covered. In that situation, we will take those existing research and then extend it so that it meets and solves the challenge that the industry partner is facing. And you will do that, you will implement it, you will get some results, you will showcase the results or present your results to the industry partner, and you finish that small mini research. And this is becoming very popular these days because this gives you, as a PhD scholar, the opportunity to work on real world projects, real world research challenges, if your PhD itself is not an industry based PhD. Okay. In the other videos, I have spoken extensively about industry based PhD. But if you are not doing industry based PhD, then these small 3 to 6 months internships will give you a flavor of what an industry PhD would be, and will also give you that additional knowledge, additional experience to work on commercial research projects. And the benefit of this is that you are kind of upskilling yourself, So in this example I have here, students working on EV battery design gain industry relevant skills by designing a new battery. Yeah. So this specific research, where you get the requirements from the industry partner, you work on it and you develop a solution in a very short snap period, I think is very good. And if you get such an opportunity, you should definitely explore it. Next benefit is industry-based research addresses societal challenges. So like I mentioned earlier on as well, the first reason was making practical real world solutions or real world challenges that you solve. So those things can help and benefit the society in one way or the other. For example, here I've given an example of a collaborative research on ultra-fast EV charging stations. What does that mean? This means charging stations where you go and charge your electric vehicles, they are ultra-fast. So they can charge your car like in very short period of time compared to the traditional chargers that can take long. So what is the societal benefit of this? This kind of research would boost the adoption of electric vehicles rapidly, because currently one of the major hurdles in EV adoption is there is lack of EV stations across the world, and the second is, or if they have the EV charging stations, they may not be ultra fast. So you may have to keep your car there for 2-3 hours for it to fully charge, or maybe half charge, like that. But if you have ultra fast chargers that can charge your car, say, in less than an hour, then I think it becomes really useful, and it will improve the adoption of EV technology, and thereby the direct benefit to society would be cutting in emissions. The emissions would be reduced substantially, especially if the electricity that the EV is using is generated in a renewable way using solar or using wind or some other form of renewable energy. Next is interdisciplinary collaboration. So when through many examples that I've already given you in today's session, you can see that there is interdisciplinary collaboration needed to develop a commercial solution. So a commercial solution is not purely built in isolation using expertise from just one discipline. Battery design is a very good example in this case, because you may need chemists who have the understanding of what chemicals reaction happens inside the battery. You need some design experts or mechanical design experts to understand the design, how the battery should be designed, how much weight it can carry, how long, what is the structural integrity of the battery, and so on. So you see, when you are designing even a very simple object, it involves multiple disciplines, skills and expertise from multiple disciplines. So when you are working in an industry-based research, you will have that opportunity to work in a team with people with different expertise, but they are all working together on making one thing work. In this case, let's say making the battery work. What example I have here? Cross-disciplinary research leads to the development of solid-state battery technology. So solid-state battery technology is the next generation technology that is being built. And to build this technology, you will have people, you will have researchers, you will have experts who will work in different, who will bring different skills to build this technology. So who is doing this? BMW and MIT, they innovated EV batteries by exploring solid-state battery technology for higher energy density and safety. So they are trying to achieve two things: high density and safety. So high density makes the battery last longer. So in simple words, if you have, say for example, in your phone, if you have a small battery operated mobile device that runs maybe for one day at the moment. But can you imagine if you can charge your phone once and it could last for the whole week? If that could happen, that is the next generation of innovation, next generation of innovation in battery technology. So things like this involves experts from multiple disciplines to come together and build a product, build a solution that is commercially viable and addresses a need in the industry. And finally, the 10th reason why you should consider industry-based research is it helps to attract investments. So if you have a very unique idea and if you propose that idea to your industry partner and to the university, and you collectively decide that we are going to do this research, we are going to build a new innovation, new technology, and that if the market exists, you do your market research, you can raise capital to make your research commercially viable. On most occasions, PhD research does not consider the commercial viability of the research. The focus is mostly on developing theoretical findings that can be applied or maybe applied in the future when that problem actually becomes a necessity. Whereas in the industry-focused research or industry-driven PhD, the commercial aspect comes very upfront. So you will probably do market research. The way you formulate what problem to work on for your in your PhD, for an industry-based PhD or industry-based collaborative research, that is the most important aspect. The problem formulation not only happens by just reading the literature, existing literature from academia, but it could also happen or would happen from talking to customers. What are customers lacking? What do they want? And how can we bring that technology, technology to meet the customer's expectations or customers' needs? So if you are in the battery, in the EV space, you will be able to raise funds to support your research. For example, if you want to develop battery swapping technology, so that kind of research will get funded, will receive interest from the venture capitalists or angel investors who see the value of this kind of research and this kind of development. Okay, so that brings me to the topic for the next session, which is going to be how to approach industry partners. So in the last couple of sessions, I have spoken extensively about the importance of what is industry research, why you should do industry research, but what is the main element, main building block or the connection for that to happen? And that is industry partners. So you need to have an industry partner who could work with you or who could give you a project that you could work on to come and develop a commercial solution, commercially viable solution. So next session, I'm going to talk about how to approach industry partners. And in my personal experience, I have worked on so many industry-funded research projects that I have a lot of things to share in this. And even if you try one or two of these strategies or tips that I'm going to share tomorrow, I think you will be on your way to start engaging with industry-based research. Okay, So tomorrow's session is going to be on how to approach industry partners. And I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. And yeah, please share this video and this webinar series with everyone who you think will benefit from this. And if there are any suggestions or if you want me to talk about some specific topics, please let me know and I'll be happy to do that in the future. All right, that's it for today. Thank you very much and have a good day. Bye.